Welcome back to Big Blue Banter.
We have reporter Abby Devereaux in the studio to break down this week's bets and plays in the sports gambling world. What do you have for us?
Welcome back to Betting Banter. If you're like me, your March Madness bracket has seen better days. But what better way to make back that money than to bet even more on some Final Four matchups? After careful consideration and much deliberation, I have some picks that are sure to give your bank account redemption. Starting off strong in Tampa, we have the Lady Texas Longhorns versus the South Carolina Gamecocks. The Gamecocks are the reigning champs from last year when they beat Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes by 12. They've been in this situation before, and Dawn Staley as a head coach alone makes for a formidable opponent. On the other hand, Texas and South Carolina did have to coin flip for the overall #1 seed in the bracket this year. Regardless, I'm going to take the South Carolina team to win as they look to two-peat and secure their 4th national title in program history. Next, we have the other side of the women's bracket, the UConn Huskies versus the UCLA Bruins. Unless you live under a rock, you know UConn has several big names on their starting 5 led by guard Paige Beckers. The Huskies have been led by head coach Gino Auriemma to 11 national wins, making them the most decorated women's basketball team in collegiate history. Now, all this sounds great on paper, but UCLA is seated higher than them in their bracket. Lauren Betts and Kiki Rice are pivotal to this squad, and even though this is the team's first Final Four, I think they'll put up a good fight. However, I'm still going to take UConn to move on to the national championship game. Moving on to the men, we have a rematchup of the SEC championship game, the Florida Gators versus the Auburn Tigers. Auburn had been seeded #1 in the nation for a consecutive 8 weeks before March Madness following their loss to Florida. The Tigers have a stacked senior roster. The average age of their starting 5 is 23. This experience shows up big. The Tigers have won several big games against ranked teams this season, and they've displayed their efficiency offensively and defensively. However, Florida has depth and defense, and Todd Golden's analytical approach to their games has been paying off big time. Even with these stats, I'm going to take Bruce Pearl's team to take Todd Golden back to school and make a run for it at the Natty. War Dam. Finally, we have the Houston Cougars versus the Duke Blue Devils. Now, I know what everyone is thinking. Cooper Flagg is going to take his team all the way. Wrong. Did you know Houston's average mile time is a 5:19? Didn't think so. This team is one of the most physically fit, and their defense is top tier. To me, Houston just seems like the overlooked #1 seed this year. They're Big 12 champs. This is their 2nd Final Four in 4 years, and they have a local fan base that is ready to show up and show out in San Antonio. Mark my words, it's going to be Houston's world, and we're just living in it. Cougars over Blue Devils for their Saturday showdown. And that is all we have for this week's Betting Banter. Tune back in next week and thank me when I'm right. Back to Ethan and Natalie at the desk.